I've seen it all in this life, my dear. People born under a lucky star only to wrap themselves in shadows out of pride. Folks gifted with healing hands that could humble saints, yet wasted their power by mocking what they didn't understand. But there was one time I'll never forget. It was late afternoon at the town fair in Asheville, North Carolina. The sun was slowly sinking behind the Appalachian hills, and the smell of fried sausage mixed with aged cheddar lingered in the warm air. My little booth was dressed in colorful ribbons, floral cloths, and a glass of water with a sprig of sage. The cobblestone street buzzed with voices and footsteps, but that day I saw something I'll never unsee. A tall young man, tan skin, honey eyes, quiet. So quiet, he didn't even seem to belong there. He walked past my table slowly, and when his eyes met mine, time froze. His hand, oh my child, his hand was glowing. It wasn't sweat nor sunlight. It was a warm golden glow, like his blood had turned to molten gold. That's when I knew he wasn't ordinary. But life always tests the gift with temptation, and he wasn't ready to hear what I had to say. His name was Rafael, son of a farmer, grandson of a midwife, raised between Sunday sermons and the dirt of the land. He had the hands of a healer, but his soul was already stiffening with the dust of pride. When I called him with the gentle voice I learned from my Romany grandmother, he gave me that crooked smile, the kind that hides contempt more than teeth. "Do you tell fortunes or just sell dreams?" he asked, lacing sarcasm in every word. I wasn't offended. When you walk with spiritual eyes, you learn to expect such things. I lifted my head, adjusted my red shawl, and looked him straight in the eyes. "Your hand is screaming, boy. There's a light in there that will demand a high price if ignored." He let out a dry laugh, thanked me like you'd thank a madwoman, and walked away. But just before turning the corner, he glanced back. And in that glance, even with the mocking face, I saw it. The seed of doubt had been planted. But time doesn't wait for pride to pass. 3 days later, I was laying out my herbs when I saw Mrs. Yolanda, Rafael's mother, rushing toward me, pale, eyes swollen red. "Grandma Carmen, something's wrong with him. He's not sleeping, not eating, and he keeps talking about weird dreams, fire, screaming people, red eyes in the dark." I closed my eyes, and I saw. His gift had awakened, but without guidance. The glow in his hand was a mark of an ancient mission, one carried from before birth. But with the gift came something else, an old obsessor, a spirit who had been his enemy in a past life, a fire Djin from the lower realms named Baalrim. He didn't come out of cruelty. He slipped through the crack of Rafael's pride. By mocking the spiritual, Rafael opened a portal through his aura. The physical world calls it madness, but in the unseen world, it was just the beginning of the reckoning. That night, the screaming began. They said his eyes turned to embers, that he sweated nonstop, calling names no one knew. His late grandmother came to him in a dream, whispering, "Go back to the one who warned you. The light in your hand became a burden because you mocked what you were born to heal." And no one on that street slept again. Chickens clucked in the dark. Dogs howled at nothing. The folks in Asheville blamed the heat. But I knew, when portals open unguarded, the physical realm trembles. The Djin Baalrim was feeding on Rafael's life force. This wasn't just obsession anymore. It was semi-possession. He was losing control over his own body. That's when his mother, sobbing, came to my house and fell to her knees. "Grandma Carmen, I'm begging you. Save my boy." I closed my eyes and summoned my lineage. It was time to intervene. I prepared my home in silence, a white candle on the altar, a black one on the floor, and sacred coal burning on the stove. I took my red bead necklace and asked permission from the line of Exu. Rafael arrived carried by his mother, nearly unconscious. His eyes were glazed, his skin burned without fever. When I touched his forehead, I felt heat from another dimension. The fire of Baalrim was scorching his soul. I laid him on the floor, drew a circle of sea salt, and began the chant, Le Roye Ixu, open paths for the light, close doors to the dark. His body arched, foam at his mouth. I burned rosemary, lavender, and sage. The sharp scent cleared the air, but the spirit laughed through the boy's lips. He called me. Now he's mine. I steadied my hand, broke the tie with 3 ancient prayers, and bathed his palm with sulfur water and orange blossom. The glow returned. Dim, but it returned, a sign the spirit was weakening. But the battle was far from over. After the ritual, the boy slept and the body rest. When he finally woke, his eyes were clear, his hand cool to the touch. But his aura still trembled. He asked me, why me? Why was I born with this gift? I answered without blinking, because you asked for it, child. In the house of the astral, before you came here, you chose to heal. You agreed to come with light in your hands, but you forgot. And when we forget, life remembers, sometimes with love, sometimes with pain. Rafael cried, but it was the kind of cry that frees the soul. I showed him an old book passed down from my grandmother. Inside were names, signs, and birth dates of children marked by light. His name was there, written in coal ink in prayer. He understood. The healing began from within, but the journey ahead was only just beginning. In the weeks that followed, Rafael came every Tuesday and Friday. He learned to handle herbs, to respect the moon's cycle, to protect himself with baths and prayers. He started visiting the sick around town, bringing teas, blessing them with his hands, always saying, if it's God's will, may you heal. And many times they did heal, but he never took credit. The glow in his hand was softer now, but steady. Not a burning flame, but a constant ember. The Djin was fully banished after our final offering deep in the old forest near Asheville. Rafael buried a strand of hair, a handful of salt, and a paper with the spirit's name written 7 times. The next day, he dreamed of his grandmother smiling. That was the sign. The path was clear. But the mission was just beginning. Light is a gift, but also a duty. And now he knew that. It was on a packed Sunday service that words cut deeper than knives. A local man, known for his skepticism, began spreading rumors that Rafael practiced witchcraft, that he was dealing with dark forces. His mother wept, and for the first time he thought about giving up. He came to me, shoulders heavy. Am I wrong, Grandma? I took his hand, firm, and said, those who bring healing will always disturb those who profit from pain. The invisible sees more than men's wagging tongues. Still, he withdrew, stopped seeing people for days, and then the town felt it. Mrs. Norma had a sudden pressure crisis. Mr. Gerald fell down the stairs. Even the pastor got sick. It was as if a light had gone out. The spirit world demands its due, my dear. When a healer goes silent out of fear, those who depend on him feel it in their bones. That's when Rafael understood. A gift is a burden, yes, but also a relief. When you run from your calling, you leave the world in pain. Rafael returned to his work, but now with more power. It was as if the guides knew he wouldn't turn away again. He began dreaming of names, dates, faces. He'd wake up and write them down. Then someone would show up with that exact name, that exact pain. He started attending both church and spiritual circles. He respected all paths because he learned God is far bigger than any doctrine. I told him, those with a mission don't choose the altar. Wherever there's pain, That's where you belong." He looked at me with those calm, honey-colored eyes and said, "I understand now, Grandma. I wasn't born to own the truth. I was born to serve it." And that, my dear, is the greatest step a medium can take. Rafael was no longer just the boy with the glowing hand. He had become a bridge between worlds. One day, while I was stitching my fabrics, he arrived with a bundle. "It's for you." It was a handmade candle, crafted by him with honey, lavender, and orange peel. "To thank you, Grandma, for saving my life." I smiled but told the truth. "You saved yourself, child. I just lit the way." He kneeled and cried, and right there on the porch, I felt his grandmother's presence, a sweet scent